You walk into a room and nobody notices. You speak and people look past you. You offer value and they negotiate you down. Listen carefully, because what I'm about to tell you will sound unfair. But fairness is a story told to children. The adult world runs on a different system entirely. It runs on perception, and perception decides your worth before you ever open your mouth. Most people believe that wealth commands respect because of what it can buy. This is only partially true. Wealth commands respect because of what it signals. The signal arrives before the transaction. The signal shapes how people treat you before they know anything real about your bank account. This is the secret that separates those who rise from those who remain invisible. Appearing wealthy is not about deception. It is about understanding that human beings do not assess value through investigation. They assess it through shortcuts, and those shortcuts are visual, behavioral, and instinctual. I have studied how power operates in every era, and one truth remains constant. People believe what they see repeated. If every interaction with you suggests abundance, control, and options, the world will treat you as if you possess all three. It does not matter if your resources are thin. What matters is whether your image communicates scarcity or strength. Scarcity invites exploitation. Strength invites respect. The difference between these two outcomes is not your actual wealth. It is how wealth appears to radiate from you. You must understand something fundamental about human psychology. The mind is lazy. It does not want to investigate deeply. It wants to make fast decisions, so it can move on to the next threat or opportunity. When people see you, they are asking themselves a single question. Does this person have leverage, or do I have leverage over them? That question is answered in seconds, and it is answered by signals. Your clothing, your posture, your tone, your pace, the way you occupy space, the way you respond to offers, the way you handle silence. All of these are signals, and signals create belief. When someone believes you are wealthy, they treat you differently. They listen longer. They interrupt less. They offer better terms. They assume competence before you prove it. They forgive mistakes faster. They fear losing access to you. This is not kindness. This is survival instinct. People align themselves with those who appear to have resources because resources mean safety, opportunity, and upward mobility. Your job is not to have endless resources. Your job is to appear as though you do. Let me be clear about what this is not. This is not about buying expensive things you cannot afford and ruining yourself financially. That is the behavior of fools who confuse appearance with recklessness. What I am teaching you is strategic signaling. Every visible choice you make sends a message. The question is whether you are sending that message intentionally or by accident. Most people send messages by accident, and those messages say, I am uncertain, I am desperate, I am available at a discount. These messages destroy negotiating power before negotiation even begins. Appearing wealthy begins with understanding that wealth is a language. It is spoken through details. A man does not need a luxury car to appear wealthy. He needs clean shoes, a well-fitted jacket, and the ability to move through space without apology. He needs to speak as though his time has a price. He needs to decline low-value offers without explanation. He needs to create pauses in conversation that force others to fill the silence. These behaviors cost nothing, but they communicate everything. Consider how people assess strangers. They look at grooming first. Is this person disciplined enough to care for their appearance? Then they assess fit. Does this person understand how to present themselves, or are they careless? Then they notice accessories. Are these items chosen with intention or grabbed randomly? Finally, they observe behavior. Does this person seem hurried, anxious, eager to please? Or do they seem calm, selective, and unbothered by rejection? Within 30 seconds, a judgment is made. That judgment becomes the frame through which every future interaction is filtered. If the judgment is that you lack resources, people will test you. They will lowball offers. They will delay responses. They will assume you need them more than they need you. If the judgment is that you have resources, people will adjust. They will move faster. They will offer more. They will compete for your attention. This is not theory. This is observable behavior that repeats across every social structure. The only variable is how you present yourself. Now let us talk about clothing, because this is where most people fail. They either spend recklessly to impress everyone, or they ignore appearance entirely and wonder why they are overlooked. Both extremes are errors. The goal is not to look rich. The goal is to look intentional. Intentionality suggests control. Control suggests resources. Resources suggest power. You do not need 10 expensive suits. You need 2 well-fitted outfits that make you look composed in any setting. Fit matters more than brand. A cheap shirt that fits perfectly looks better than an expensive shirt that does not. Tailoring is the single highest return investment you can make in appearance. It tells the world that you pay attention to details, and people who pay attention to details are assumed to be competent in other areas. Color matters. Neutral tones suggest seriousness, black, gray, navy. These communicate authority. Bright colors and patterns communicate availability and eagerness. Wealthy people do not need to be noticed. They are already noticed. Their clothing is quiet, refined, and unremarkable in its consistency. This is the uniform of power, predictable, clean, and never desperate for attention. Accessories are where wealth signals concentrate. A quality watch, a leather belt, simple jewelry if any, these items last years and communicate taste. Taste is the language of the upper class. It says, I know what matters and I do not need to prove it. Avoid logos. Logos are for those who need external validation. True wealth whispers. Desperation shouts. Grooming is non-negotiable. Clean nails, trimmed hair, maintained skin, fresh breath. These cost almost nothing, but their absence destroys credibility. A man with perfect clothing and poor grooming looks like he is pretending. A man with simple clothing and flawless grooming looks like he has standards. Standards suggest self-respect. Self-respect suggests that others should respect you as well. Shoes are examined more than you realize. Dirty or worn shoes signal carelessness. People notice them subconsciously and downgrade their assessment of you. Clean, maintained shoes signal discipline. Discipline is associated with success. This is why every military and corporate power structure enforces shoe standards. It is a visible test of whether you can manage details, but appearance is only half the equation. Behavior is where perception becomes belief. You can dress perfectly and still be dismissed if your behavior communicates need. Need is the enemy of respect. The moment people sense that you need them more than they need you, the power shifts entirely. They slow down. They test boundaries. They reduce offers. They wait to see how desperate you become. Wealthy people do not chase. They select. This is the core behavioral difference. When you chase, you communicate scarcity. When you select, you communicate abundance. Abundance is attractive. Scarcity is repellent. Your job is to behave as though you have options, even when you do not. This begins with how you respond to offers. When someone makes you an offer, do not accept immediately. Immediate acceptance signals desperation. Pause. Consider. Ask questions. Suggest modifications. This does not mean rejecting good opportunities. It means training people to believe that access to you requires effort. Effort creates value. If you are too easy to obtain, you will be treated as low value. Silence is one of the most powerful tools available to you. Most people fear silence and rush to fill it. This is a mistake. Silence creates pressure, and pressure forces others to reveal their position. When you make an offer and stay silent, the other person feels compelled to respond. Often they will improve their offer just to end the discomfort. Wealthy people understand this. They let silence do the work that words cannot. Your tone matters as much as your words. Speak slower than feels natural. Fast speech suggests anxiety. Slow speech suggests control. Lower your voice slightly. High-pitched or loud voices signal insecurity. Deep, calm voices signal authority. This is biology. Humans associate deep, slow speech with dominance. You do not need to force it. Simply slow down and let your voice settle into its natural lower range. Never explain yourself unless absolutely necessary. Explanation suggests that you need approval. Wealthy people do not need approval. They make decisions and expect others to adjust. When you decline an invitation, do not list reasons. Simply say you are unavailable. When you set a boundary, do not justify it. State it and move on. Justification invites negotiation. Statements invite compliance. How you spend time signals wealth as much as how you spend money. Wealthy people protect their time aggressively. They do not arrive early. They do not wait long. They do not tolerate inefficiency. When you allow people to waste your time, you signal that your time has no value. When you protect your time, people assume it is expensive. Expensive time means valuable person. This does not mean being rude. It means being firm. If someone is late, you leave after a reasonable window. If a meeting is unproductive, you end it politely but decisively. If someone repeatedly disrespects your schedule, you reduce access. These actions teach people that your time is limited and limited resources are always valued higher than abundant ones. Let us discuss money directly, because this is where perception becomes critical. You do not need to spend lavishly to appear wealthy. In fact, lavish spending often signals insecurity. What you need is controlled visibility. Spend where it is seen and matters. Restrain where it is private and irrelevant. For example, spend on the items people notice. Your phone, your bag, your outerwear. These are public. They are assessed constantly. A quality coat worn for 5 years signals more wealth than a cheap coat replaced every season. Durability suggests you can afford quality. Quality suggests resources. Do not spend on things that remain hidden. Expensive sheets, luxury kitchen tools, high-end electronics that stay home. These do not contribute to perception. Save that money or invest it elsewhere. Perception is built in public, not in private. Your private life can be modest. Your public presentation cannot be. When you do spend visibly, do so without hesitation. Hesitation signals scarcity. If you are buying coffee and you pause to check prices, people notice. If you order without looking at cost, people assume cost does not concern you. This does not mean being wasteful. It means being smooth. Smooth transactions suggest familiarity with spending. Familiarity suggests wealth. Tipping is a visible signal. Tip well in situations where it will be remembered. A good tip to a regular bartender, a valet, a doorman. These people talk. Their perception of you spreads. A reputation for generosity in small, visible ways creates a halo effect. People assume that if you tip well, you must have resources to spare. Never discuss financial struggle publicly. This is critical. The moment you mention being broke, tight on cash, or unable to afford something, you plant a seed in the listener's mind. That seed grows into a belief. Once people believe you lack resources, they treat you accordingly. They stop offering opportunities. They assume you are not a viable partner. They move on to others who appear more stable. This does not mean lying about your situation. It means controlling what you reveal. Financial details are private. Keep them that way. If someone asks directly, redirect. You do not owe anyone transparency about your finances. Protect that information as you would protect any strategic asset. Now let us talk about environments, because where you are seen matters as much as how you are seen. Wealthy people occupy certain spaces. Cafes in affluent areas, hotel lobbies, business lounges, art galleries, upscale gyms. You do not need to spend much in these places. You need to be present in them. Presence in high-status environments creates association. When people see you in these spaces regularly, they assume you belong. Assumption becomes belief. Belief becomes reputation. You can work from a hotel lobby for the price of a coffee and gain more social credibility than working from a cheap co-working space. Choose your social environments carefully. Avoid places that signal low status. This is not snobbery, this is strategy. If you are constantly seen in discount stores, fast food restaurants, or low-end bars, people categorize you accordingly. Categories are difficult to escape. If you must use these places, do so privately. Publicly, be seen where status is assumed. Your associations also signal wealth. People judge you by the company you keep. If your friends appear careless, broke, or low ambition, others will assume the same about you. This does not mean abandoning loyal friends. It means being strategic about who you are seen with in professional or social settings where perception matters. Cultivate relationships with people who appear successful. This is not using people. This is alignment. Successful people benefit from associating with others who maintain standards. If you present yourself well, they will not mind your presence. Over time, being seen with them elevates your perceived status. Status is contagious. Proximity to power makes others assume you have power. Let us address something uncomfortable. Many people resist these ideas because they believe authenticity matters more than perception. They think the world should value them for who they truly are, not for how they appear. This belief is comforting, but it is also naive. The world does not have time to discover your true worth. It makes snap judgments and moves on. If your authentic self is invisible, it might as well not exist. I'm not telling you to become fake. I am telling you to become intentional. Authenticity without strategy is invisibility. Strategy without authenticity is exhausting. The balance is presenting your best self consistently, so the world sees what you want it to see. This is not deception. This is curation. Every successful person curates their image. The only question is whether you will do it consciously or let it happen by accident. Appearing wealthy also requires managing expectations. When people expect little from you, they offer little. When they expect much, they offer more. Expectations are set through consistency. Every time someone interacts with you, they update their internal assessment. If you are sometimes polished and sometimes careless, they will remember the careless version. Inconsistency signals instability. Stability is a prerequisite for trust, and trust is a prerequisite for opportunity. This means you cannot afford off days in public. Your private life can be chaotic. Your public presentation cannot be. This is the price of perception. It requires discipline. Discipline separates those who rise from those who plateau. Most people lack the discipline to maintain their image under pressure. This is why most people remain average. Another critical element is your digital presence. In the modern world, people research you before they meet you. Your social media, your photos, your associations, all of these contribute to perception. If your online presence suggests disorganization, poverty, or desperation, it does not matter how well you dress in person. The damage is already done. Curate your digital image as carefully as your physical one. Post selectively. Avoid complaining, oversharing, or displaying chaos. Share images that suggest competence, taste, and stability. You do not need to post often. In fact, posting too much suggests you have too much free time. Scarcity applies digitally as well. Less frequent, higher quality posts suggest a busy, valuable life. Remove or hide content that undermines your image. Old photos from careless years. Posts that suggest financial struggle. Complaints about employers or clients. These are liabilities. Perception is cumulative. Every piece of visible information either strengthens or weakens your position. Let us talk about negotiation, because this is where appearing wealthy pays immediate dividends. When you negotiate from a position of perceived wealth, the other party assumes you have alternatives. Alternatives are leverage. Leverage determines outcomes. If they believe you can walk away easily, they will offer more to keep you engaged. This begins before negotiation starts. Arrive calm. Dress well. Speak slowly. Do not appear eager. Eagerness signals need. Need destroys leverage. When they make an offer, pause before responding. The pause suggests you are considering other options. Even if no other options exist, the pause creates the belief that they might. Counter offers confidently. Do not apologize for asking for more. Apologies signal that you do not believe you deserve what you are asking for. If you do not believe it, they will not either. State your counter as if it is reasonable, because confidence makes things appear reasonable. Confidence is contagious. If you believe you are worth more, others begin to believe it too. If they reject your counter, do not collapse immediately. Express mild disappointment and suggest you need time to think. This keeps the door open while maintaining your position. Often they will return with a better offer rather than lose you entirely. But this only works if they believe you are willing to walk away. Walking away requires appearing as though you have other options. Other options require appearing wealthy. Now, let us discuss one of the most overlooked aspects of appearing wealthy: generosity. This sounds contradictory, but it is not. Wealthy people can afford to be generous in small, visible ways. A round of drinks, picking up a lunch tab, small gifts. These actions signal abundance. Abundance attracts people. People bring opportunities. But generosity must be strategic. Do not give to everyone. Do not give constantly. Give selectively and visibly. Selective generosity suggests you are choosing to be generous, not that you are trying to buy approval. People respect chosen generosity. They exploit constant generosity. When you give, do so smoothly, no hesitation, no mention of cost. No expectation of public thanks. This suggests that the amount is insignificant to you. Insignificant amounts suggest deep resources. Deep resources suggest power. Avoid cheap behavior in public, splitting bills down to the cent, using expired coupons, haggling over small amounts. These actions destroy the perception of wealth faster than anything else. If you cannot afford to be generous in a situation, avoid the situation entirely. It is better to be absent than to be visibly cheap. Let me tell you what happens when you master this. People begin to treat you differently without knowing why. They return your calls faster. They offer better terms. They introduce you to valuable contacts. They assume you are someone worth knowing. This assumption becomes self-fulfilling. The more people treat you as valuable, the more opportunities you receive. The more opportunities you receive, the more valuable you actually become. This is the paradox of perception. It starts as strategy, but it becomes reality. By appearing wealthy, you attract the resources that make you wealthy. By appearing powerful, you gain the leverage that makes you powerful. The image precedes the substance, but the image also creates the substance. You might wonder if this is sustainable. It is, but only if you use the opportunities that perception creates. Perception opens doors. You still need to walk through them and deliver value. If you appear wealthy but produce nothing, people will eventually notice. But by then, you will have had access to rooms you never would have entered otherwise. Access is everything. Most people fail not because they lack ability, but because they never get access to the environments where ability can be demonstrated. Appearing wealthy is the key that unlocks those environments. Once inside, your actual skills and intelligence can take over. But without the key, the door remains closed. This is why image is not vanity. It is necessity. It is the entry fee to the game. I have watched people with moderate ability rise to extraordinary heights because they understood this. I have watched brilliant people remain invisible because they did not. The difference was never talent. It was perception. Talent without perception is labor. Perception without talent is temporary. But perception first gives talent the stage it needs. So let me tell you what you must do. Audit your current image. Look at your clothing, your grooming, your behavior, your environments, your associations, your digital presence. Ask yourself honestly, what does this communicate? Does it communicate abundance or scarcity? Does it communicate control or chaos? Does it communicate value or availability? Then make adjustments, not all, at once. Sudden transformation looks desperate. Gradual refinement looks intentional. Start with grooming and fit. These cost little but return much. Then adjust behavior. Slow your speech. Use more silence. Protect your time. Decline low-value offers without apology. As you do this, watch how people respond. You will notice shifts. Small at first. People listening slightly longer. Offers improving marginally. Respect arriving without being demanded. These shifts compound. What starts as small changes in perception becomes large changes in outcome. Remember, the world does not reward what is hidden. It rewards what is displayed. Your worth is irrelevant if it remains invisible. Appearing wealthy is not about lying. It is about making your value visible before the world decides you have none. People believe what they see repeated. If every interaction with you reinforces control, taste, and abundance, belief forms. Belief shapes behavior. Behavior creates outcomes. Outcomes determine your position in every hierarchy you enter. This is not comfortable knowledge. It suggests that fairness is an illusion and that perception matters more than truth. But discomfort does not make it false. The world operates on these principles whether you accept them or not. Your choice is simple. Ignore these rules and remain subject to them, or learn these rules and use them. I have given you the framework: appearance, behavior, environment, association, generosity, negotiation, consistency. Each element reinforces the others. Together they create a perception of wealth that commands respect, opens doors, and shifts power in your favor. You do not need to be born wealthy. You do not need a fortune. You need discipline, intention, and understanding. Understanding that humans assess value through shortcuts, that those shortcuts are visual and behavioral. That perception, once established, becomes difficult to reverse, and that the person who controls perception controls the interaction. This is the game. Most people do not know they are playing it. They wonder why others advance while they stagnate. They blame luck, connections, unfairness. They never realize that they are broadcasting the wrong signals. Signals that say, I am cheap, I am desperate, I am available at a discount. You now know better. You know that wealth is a language spoken through details. That respect is granted to those who appear to have options. That power begins in the mind of the observer, not in your bank account. So the question is not whether this works. The question is whether you will apply it. Application requires consistency. Consistency requires discipline. Discipline separates the strategic from the average. Most will hear this and do nothing. They will return to old habits and wonder why nothing changes. A few will apply it partially and see partial results. Fewer still will commit fully and watch as doors open that were previously locked. Which will you be? The choice is yours, but the world will not wait for you to decide. It is already judging you, already categorizing you, already deciding whether you are worth its time. Make sure the answer it arrives at is the one you want.